Hello and welcome to this Somatic Yin Yoga practice where we're going to be inviting movement into the Yin Yoga postures, holding poses for 2 to 3 minutes, but not holding them in a still way. So I'll offer some variations and some ideas to you that you can move through. And as you may know, if you're an experienced Yin practitioner, every one of the Yin Yoga postures has a lot of variations. We don't look at them as being more advanced or more beginner, but really just being different ways to get into a certain area of the body. And we're going to be using that as part of our exploration today, is a journey through some of these variations. So let's begin sitting on top of the heels in Seiza, and we'll explore graceful bow. So as we sit on top of the heels, we take the hands onto the lap and drop the head over toward the right side, stretching into the left side of the neck, taking the right hand onto the floor. You can go ahead and let your left hand drop and feeling this space, this stretch between the left ear and the left shoulder. And now taking this left hand behind the back. So back of the hand can be on the lower back. It could even creep up to come to the back of the ribs if that feels good. And now adding another layer by walking this right hand farther out. You decide how far. You could stay on the fingertips or you could come down on the hand. Everyone's arm length is different in proportion to the rest of their body. So what feels right for you is the best way to do it. And so you can turn your head up or down, find these different stretches in the neck. And now go ahead and take the left arm up and over. And now what to do with this hand? You could keep it in an extended position or perhaps take it behind the head or walk the hand farther down the back. Breathing into your side stretch. And maybe there was a version of this along the way that you want to revisit, like having the arm down. Keep on breathing through your variations as we slowly come up and move it to the other side. Head over toward your left. And just beginning with this gentle tilt of the head, feeling the space and the stretch between the right shoulder and the right ear. And you can take this right hand behind the back now, back of the hand to the sacrum, or maybe a different spot on the back. You can have a little journey with this right hand and where it wants to be on your back. Different ways of finding this neck stretch, right? If and when you feel ready now, we can take it up with the right arm, up and over, walking this bottom hand out as far as you'd like. Right hand can visit the back of the head. And maybe experimenting with different turns of the head, up, down. Maybe revisiting the first position with the hand and the arm down. Where is your body calling to be stretched? What parts of your body want to be feeling this? And slowly coming up. And now taking it into a wrist stretch, and we'll just do 1 minute. This is not a very typical yin thing to stretch into the hands and wrists. And the reason for that is that we don't have quite the great distribution of fascia in the hands and the upper body that we do in the lower body. But we still have fascia, and I usually find 1 minute is enough. And the somatic part here is to, you can let your hands peel up and come back down. You could shift your weight side to side. You could lift one hand and then the other. And I really like with the upper body poses more movement than stillness typically. And peeling up, and now turn the hands the other way. This is like your gorilla hands, getting the backs of the wrists on the ground. And this might mean your hands need to come farther in to get a stretch at the backs of the hands and the forearms. Or if you have a lot of range here, maybe your hands come farther forward. I don't have a lot of range here, so I'm gonna go back closer to my body. And then the same thing, you could peel them up, bring them back down, shift the weight side to side. Kind of roll the stretch around different parts of the back of the hands. And releasing that. Ooh. And just opening and closing the wrists, circling the wrists. Let's come onto hands and knees and then into dragon pose. Left leg forward in dragon. And finding a few variations here. There are so many wonderful variations of dragon. We'll do this one to begin, both hands on the inside of the foot. And then let's move it into a twist by keeping the right hand planted where it is, left hand on top of the knee, and twist it like so. You're gonna turn your hips, right hip down, left hand up. Let's take this left arm up and then wrap it behind the back. Optionally, you could bend the back knee, reach back and hold the foot for dragon's tail. And whichever one you're in, dragon's tail or hand behind the back, find the back then by rolling your left shoulder back in space, bringing your head back in space, opening the front of your body. Good, and now let's release this left arm up and all the way back to the ground, landing in gecko, down on the elbows. Breathing here. And you can always roll right to left, which is what I have been intuitively doing. I guess I do that a lot. And then we come up and climb the hands up on top of the front leg. Ooh. Find your back bend here. And releasing down. Tuck the back toes, take it into downward dog. Walking dog, one leg at a time. And now let's take it into dragon on the second side, dropping the knees, stepping the right leg forward, and beginning with both hands on the inside of the foot. Right to left with the hips if you like. Kind of stirring the pot here. That's what I feel like we could do. Making some circles very small or circles even larger. And now keep the left hand on the ground, twist it, right hand on the knee, letting the left hip dip down. Right arm up and behind the back. Optionally, bending the back leg, dragon's tail. And whichever of those variations you're in, roll the right shoulder back. Bring the head back in space. Find the back bend. Hips are kind of moving forward, ribs moving forward, shoulders are moving backward. And release this right hand all the way up and over, landing down in gecko. And coming up, climbing up, clasping hands on the front knee, finding a back bend here. Compress the hands into the knee. And releasing down, stepping back to downward dog. Walking dog. And down into child's pose. In this child's pose, lift your wrists up with your fingertips clawing into the ground. And now actively rolling your shoulders up onto your back so you're feeling like you're hollowing your armpits out. Head might be off the ground for this. And now press into the fingers to bring your hips and tailbone back toward your feet. Good, let's bring it back up and make your way into a seated position for hamstring stretches. Right leg forward, left knee on top of the right, half shoelace pose. So what we're going to do is 3 variations of hamstring stretches. Half shoelace, half butterfly, and half frog. For about 1 minute each. And you can hold each of these 1-minute variations in a still position, or feel free to invite some movement, some side to side with the torso, or maybe some waves of the spine up and then back down. To me, it's all feeling real good right now. And second variation is half butterfly, which I feel that I should turn my body around just so you can see. Left foot to the inner upper thigh. Hands on the shin, the floor, the foot, you name it. An extra bit of movement that can be added here is your left hand could come to the outside of your right shin, ankle, or foot to bring a little more stretch into the torso, to add the torso side body stretch to your hamstring stretch. And coming up, final variation is half frog, turning the foot back. Knees could be closer together or wider apart or anywhere in between. If you have a sweet spot, then that's going to be where your right hamstrings feel it the most. That's still our target areas, the right hamstrings. So cushions under the seat might be quite helpful here if you find this not very comfortable or doable, or just take one of the earlier variations. In Yin Yoga, the variations exist not so that we can master them all, but so that we can find one that is effective. The variations in yoga exist because bodies are different. Everyone's bones are different, just like all of our faces are different and our voices are different and our personalities are different. Slowly rising up now, changing sides, left leg forward, coming into this half shoelace pose for our first variation, side B. And slowly coming up and coming into half butterfly. Once again, just so you can see, I'll change, and then right foot to the inner thigh, coming forward over the left leg. And slowly coming up and taking it into half frog, right leg turns, and we come forward. Once again, your knee could be closer in or farther back. I might tend to like mine farther back than most people, and I've had people try and do it like me because they think that's the correct way. So just keep in mind, for a lot of people, having something farther forward or sitting on a cushion works a lot better. And for a lot of people, this just is not an effective hamstring stretch. So once again, use one of the other variations if that's what's happening for you. And slowly release. And with our hamstrings very well extended, let's come onto the back to rest, taking a full minute here and feel the effects of the practice so far in this body. Bend your knees. Windshield wipers. Your feet are planted about as wide as your mat, perhaps narrower or wider, taking the knees side to side as the feet stay planted at this mat width apart. Much more than a simple twist that we're doing here. I like to cross my hands behind my head sometimes for this. Much more than a simple twist, we're actually dipping the knee in kind of toward the midline of the mat on each side. You might even experiment with wider feet to get that. And we're getting this internal rotation movement, which is part of our half saddle move, which is, you guessed it, where we're going next. So right knee is down. And now your left foot, where does it want to be? Closer into the middle, out to the side, as you let your left knee fall out to the side. Now here's your option to intensify it by taking the right foot closer to your right hip. It's okay if your knee pops up, as long as your knee is not in any pain. We're going for a stretch in the right thigh and hip flexors. And our first variation is this one here, with this left knee out to the side. And now second variation is to lift this left knee straight up. So if any of these make your knee hurt, that's a sign that you are exceeding your range of motion, and to move to a different variation so that you don't injure your knee. This is a gentler variation to have the leg straight. And an even gentler is to have the foot flat and the knee straight up, or the one where we began with the knee out to the side. Now placing the left foot on top of the right knee. Just keep on breathing through all these variations. Here comes a variation that may or may not work for your body. This doesn't work for everyone, to hug the knee in. As you can see, for me, it makes this knee pop up, but the knee's not in pain, so I'm going to go with it. If you have a lot of range here, you might even be going into holding the foot, happy baby kind of variation, or extending the leg, but those get a little bit beyond what my hips want to do. So we're here moving and exploring. Some people find with the foot flat in this variation, there can be more adjusting of the hips, finding the mobility here. And now let's change sides. So how can we get back to the windshield wipers? We slide this right foot back down and let the knees come side to side as they were a few times before we settle in to side B. And when you're ready, left knee stays in the middle there. Right foot, where does it want to be for you to relax this knee out to the side? And then taking this left foot closer, if that's in your range of motion, and maybe it's not. Maybe you keep the more windshield wiper position for that left foot. Target area, once again, is the front of the thigh and hip on the left side this time. Arm position is totally variable. As you can see, I tend to like mine over the head, but you could have them anywhere out to the sides, on the belly, or down at your sides. And now let's bring this right knee up to the center. And here's where we can play around with our positioning, maybe shift the hips forward or back, side to side. And maybe You want to rest for a little bit with the leg extended, or here, or move between those, which kind of feels good. And we can take this right foot on top of the left knee. Again, if it starts to hurt, if it feels like it's forcing your leg down and causing pain in the knee, then that's a sign to stop that variation. Find another one that doesn't hurt. And now we can hug the right knee in, and I have even less range on this side, so you remember the variations on the other side if you want to. Hug that knee in, hold the foot, or extend the leg while you're holding the foot. Have a field day for a few more moments here. And that's it, releasing. And we're going to just gently make our way to a resting position. Resting and breathing, feeling the results of all this movement, the synovial fluid flowing in the body, the water that supports our fascia system, moving, flowing. Hug both knees in, please. Gently rock side to side. Lift your head up towards your knees. Reach down and hold the bottoms of your feet and lift the soles of the feet up toward the sky. Happy baby pose. And today, let's try holding the other side of the feet from what you normally do. So some people hold the insides of the feet, some hold the outsides of the feet intuitively. Do the opposite for a moment and just experience that. And you can rock side to side, which I always find myself doing because my sacrum loves it. And now let's take the hands back to whatever is your favorite, most comfortable place, and now extend into one leg. Maybe it doesn't change much. Maybe you're mostly at your extent of your range of motion, or maybe you can extend your leg completely or somewhere in the middle. And let's do it with the other leg. And let's see about doing it with both legs. And rocking side to side here. And let's see about bending the knees again and rolling all the way onto one side while keeping hold of the feet. This is secretly one of my favorite things to do in my own practice. Come back up to the center and over to the other side. You can stack your feet. And once more on each side. Bring it back up. Last side. And that's that. Let's come back to the center. taking a blissful Savasana. Make yourself comfy, sprawling out, spreading out, using any props that you'd like to support yourself with. Adding any clothing, any comfy things. We've been inviting movement. And now we're going to invite stillness. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Feeling all these parts of your body that have been moving, stretching, exploring, and experiencing. This body that has been a vessel for all of this mindfulness, spaciousness, energy, awareness. There may be some sensations like tingling or delight or calm, fullness or space. Welcome the stillness. Welcome the quiet. Now taking a deeper breath in, gently bringing movement back, starting with fingers and hands, feet and toes, rolling the legs in and out, stretching the arms over the head. Inhale and exhale, bend your knees, roll to the side, slowly come up. Sitting with your spine tall. Take a moment to be in this body. Taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. And that is our practice. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. My name is Devi Daly. I'm so glad you decided to practice with me today, and I will see you next time.